Back in the start of Five Nights at Freddy's, there were a ton of rumors going around, such as, what happened to the phone guy? Why does Freddy not come off the stage like the others in early nights? And who is Golden Freddy? But none of them ever stood out over the fan base as much as Sparky the dog did. It is shown that Sparky is peeking his head into the parts and service room. He doesn't do anything but stare at you. This was a big theory for two reasons. One being that this was a new animatronic that everyone would have to worry about. And two, who was the Sparky character? This was a bad theory because only one person ever claimed to see Sparky, which led to the case of the dog being debunked. This was quickly debunked as the fans grew to realize that they never saw Sparky in their game, ever. Lastly, to put the myth to rest, the creator of the image came forward and said it was edited using Photoshop to give the game more glory. It was harmless, but to think that people fell for it is just crazy. Think about it, a character only one person had seen, only appears in one camera, and does not attack you. Yeah, I'm not buying it. Okay, now listen, this theory isn't just bad, it's plain confusing. So whoever came up with this theory statement on why they thought this was because Foxy's jump scare, he doesn't get in your face like all the others do, but instead, he just peeks into the room. Okay, that's understandable, but this next piece of evidence makes no sense. They said that Foxy's jaw is permanently opened, so that's why whenever he runs into your office to come check on you, he screams. But if you play the jump scare back and put it in slow motion, you can clearly see his mouth being shut right before he enters the room to kill you. This was a good theory back in the time, but when Five Nights at Freddy's 2 got released and we were introduced to Foxy's jump scare, the entire theory got debunked immediately, since this time he jumps at you and crashes headfirst into you. Only him and the puppet do that. Now, don't even get me started on Fnaf 4 Foxy, because if the theory wasn't debunked then, it would be when that came out, because he practically pounces on you and practically bites off your face. So this theory should be debunked today, which it is, but it was a good one back in the day and a very enjoyable one. But now, it's just plain dumb that anybody would even think that. In my opinion, this is the stupidest theory ever made by FNAF fans. Now this theory originated in FNAF 1 after the phone guy mentioned the bite of 87. So a lot of people thought it was Foxy because he's out of order, his jaw is hanging down, he looks broken, and there are some people out there who thought it was Bonnie. Now, you may think that there's some really good reasoning for this. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you all, but you'd be wrong. The only reasoning to these claims were because Bonnie has a big mouth. That's about it. That's all that they said. They said Bonnie has a big mouth, so he caused the bite of 87 because he can fit a child's head in his mouth. And which makes no sense at all, conceiving that every other animatronic is prescribed from each other. Like, Freddy came first, then Bonnie. They used Freddy's sculpture to make Bonnie, and then they used Bonnie's sculpture to make Chica, and then Foxy, I think, is a separate one. But everybody 100% has a big enough mouth to cause the bite. I mean, look at Foxy. This dude has a gigantic mouth. And it's not about the size of the mouth, for one. It's about how strong the jaw is. And they are all animatronics, so they have the same jaw structure and jaw strength. So it practically doesn't really matter on if they have a big jaw or not. But Bonnie got hated on because of it, and yeah, I mean, come on now. That is like the dumbest theory I think has ever touched the surface of Five Nights at Freddy's. But yeah, people don't really understand that a bite can still be caused by somebody with a small jaw. I mean, like, look at a toddler. They can bite. I mean, come on, bro. But yeah, this is probably the stupidest theory ever made in Five Nights at Freddy's. Okay, now I was a firm believer of this theory, of there being two killers. So the reason why I believed in this was because in Foxy's Go 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 minigame, we see a pink guy. He looks pink. Now, we are familiar with the purple guy, but after seeing this guy, we are brought to the thought that maybe there's two killers. Maybe William Afton is being helped by somebody else. And some people thought this was Henry. Some people thought this was Henry at the end of Fnaf 6, which was weird because, I mean, Fnaf 6 is way after Fnaf 1. Also, every theory in this video is from Fnaf 1 and 2, nothing else. But yeah, so people thought this was Henry even so long ago as Fnaf 6, which made no sense to me because we already knew William Afton was the main killer. But so yeah, in Foxy's Go 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 minigame, we saw a pink guy, and then in all of the other minigames and cutscenes in like FNAF 3, we saw purple guy. Now, purple guy is the one we're familiar with. The pink guy is who we are not. So the reason that this is a bad theory is because they both do the same thing. It's just a different sprite, and you can only see them in minigames, which is not a part of the actual game. It's just giving you depth on what happened. So people should really pay attention before, they could jump to conclusions about there being more than one killer. But this is the reason. Scott, I think he may have did this on purpose, of adding two different sprites to spark the community with theories and whatnot. Or he could have just mistakenly put a different sprite and made him look more pinkish than purplish. But I guess we'll never know. This was back in FNAF 2, and everybody's caught up to date now because, everybody knows that there's not two killers, that there's just one. It's William Afton. So yeah, this theory isn't necessarily stupid. It's just necessarily confusing on why there's just in one mini game there is a different sprite than all of the others. But I was a believer that there was two killers when I first played the game, and now I know that there's one. But it was just a sprite error. So yeah, that was the two killer theory. This theory, I guess, was decent at the time, but honestly, when you think about it and you go back and you look at all the aspects that people thought made it real, you'd feel dumb. So people used to think that Chica was the one who got Phone Guy inside her after Phone Guy dies in Night 4. This is a really bad theory because the only evidence supporting it is that Chica is the only animatronic that has two visible sets of teeth, and people were thinking that that's the Phone Guy's teeth. Now, I don't think anybody took into perspective that may be the endoskeleton's teeth, and she had those teeth inside her head when when the Phone Guy was still alive. So you could see it when she's close up next to the office in right next to the office. You could see her close up. You could see two sets of teeth. You could see her beak teeth and her endoskeleton teeth. Now, people used to think the endoskeleton teeth was the Phone Guy's teeth, but they'd be wrong. That's the endoskeleton's teeth, because she had those teeth inside her head before the Phone Guy died. So this theory was debunked very fast. I'm pretty sure. It's extremely fast. And then people started moving on to Golden Freddy, because why not? Because it was a secret animatronic and the only animatronic that they could point fingers at. So yeah, this theory, it was okay at the time, but it still didn't live up to some of the other theories, that some of them ended up coming true.